Hey everyone, it's Michael Doty from Microfocus Solutions Architect, here to talk to you today about StormRunner Functional and get a high-level understanding and introduction of exactly what it is, how your company could benefit from it, and how it would actually be used within your company and maybe change some of the processes you have. So with me today I've got Mars, who's already introduced himself here, and he'll be with me side by side, and then you'll also be seeing him inside of the demo environment as well. So get to know him. He's going to be a great resource for you, as he's the inner workings and ins and outs of what's actually going on behind the scenes in StormRunner Functional. So let's get started and take a look at what the agenda will be covering today. So just very briefly, I want to go over the functional testing portfolio within Microfocus. You also know as a legacy, or what was previously HPE, as HP, as well as even back to the Mercury days, but now known as fully the Microfocus portfolio suite for functional testing. And then we'll go quickly over some of today's test challenges. After that, we'll get a better understanding of exactly what StormRunner Functional is. And then for the demonstration, I won't be covering it in this video, but I'll be coming out with a lot more demos in the future. I've already got one out right now, but by the time you see this, hopefully they're already out there for you to take a look at and to see the demonstration of the product. And definitely give us a call and we can discuss more about exactly how you could adopt it into your own environment, because not everybody's the same and everybody has different processes, but we can help you understand exactly how that'd be used. And then I will have, below this video, we have a link for the trial so that you can get started. And then that's about it. So let's get started. Jinx. All right, so functional testing portfolio. Now, I want to help you understand exactly where StormRunner Functional fits in, because as you may already know, if you don't, we have the products that you can leverage within your team, for traditional tester to the developer to business analyst. So everywhere from shift left to shift right to the middle, from very technical to non-technical to kind of technical testers. Those solutions are available for you. And what we see below, StormRunner Functional is going to be a complement to them. Whereas the ones that we're seeing below, like Unified Functional Testing, Silk Test, LeanFT, Silk4j, BPT, Workbench, all these tools are basically what you're going to use to get the test script going, get it created. And then where StormRunner Functional really fits in is after we've got those test scripts created, now what do we do with them? We need to execute them, right? So this is where StormRunner Functional comes in. Even though it does have the ability to natively create test scripts from scratch, that's really where you're going to see the value of it. So it's not by any means a replacement for any of these solutions at all. It's really a complement, and that's probably one of the biggest things to not get confused about. So what we've seen with the testing challenges, and this is exactly how StormRunner Functional came about, is we saw the challenges of the test within the lifecycle management, challenges within the test designing itself, and then challenges with test execution and the maintenance of those tests. And with the lifecycle management, the kind of challenges that you come into is that now we've got these complex and distributed applications. We need to test earlier in the lifecycle, and then we also have a variety of tools that we need to run these tests, or to create these tests, or to document these tests that are being ran on. And then on top of that, integrations that need support in order to support our lifecycle management tools. And then next we've got to design those tests. So we're going everything again back to the shift left to shift right, incorporating more personas so that we can help leverage the workload. And so we're not getting everything within one team, but we're leveraging all of our resources as much as possible. And then we've got more and more data that we need to drive these tests. And then on top of that, more platforms, whether it's mobile devices, web applications, what have you. This is all adding to the challenges with what we have to when we're designing tests. And then test execution and maintenance. Now we've got to do more with less. We've got less team, we've got less resources, we've got less money, we've got less hardware, whatever it is. And then on top of that, you're always being asked to move faster and faster, because if you don't, then you're not going to be able to keep up with your competition, of course. And so that requires us to improve our rapid development and then not only move faster, but maintain that quality that we have and meet the deadlines of the business needs. And the trends that come out of this, and this is coming from the World Quality Report from 2017-18, is that we see 19% of tests are occurring in the virtualized test environments. 39% see difficulties in integrating their automation tools, and 42% have challenges with their environment availability. So this, of course, can impact our test execution results and our time that we have within our test cycle. And then 46% of the QA budget goes directly to hardware and infrastructure. So what you're going to see out of this is being able to address some of these trends and the negative impact, as well as promoting the trends that have that are getting positive results out of the World Quality Report. And we're going to be able to see how we can leverage maybe some of the existing budget that we have for the tools out there that are more supportive with the being able to move faster, leveraging more cloud solutions, as well as being able to have better support for integrating the current tools that you have with your existing environment. With that, now let's better understand exactly what StormRunner Functional is. What I want you to be able to take away from this is at least 3 things of exactly what StormRunner Functional is. First of all, it's the ability for us to maintain a digital lab for you, so you don't have an on-prem test lab environment that you have to execute your test on. You don't have to worry about maintaining those operating systems, installing those operating systems, the browsers, the browser versions, the beta versions, the patches, securities, X, Y, and Z. That's number 1 thing that I want you to be able to remember exactly what StormRunner Functional does for you as the user and as a company. Second thing is the ability to right-size my testing. So what exactly does that mean? It'll be elaborated a little bit more in the demo. However, just to explain it now, with the integrations that StormRunner Functional has with Google Analytics, being able to know what's going on in the production environment, you could, of course, use it for pre-production, but being able to have a report that shows which environments are the most popular that are being ran on. So, for instance, what operating system, what mobile devices, what browser types are most popular, what browser versions, as well as what resolutions are most popular that are being used in the that are being used in the actual production environment. Those can help you to right-size your test when you're trying to prioritize which test do I need to execute for the next cycle. So, for instance, in the demo, you'll be able to see how maybe we thought Chrome was going to be the more predominant browser that was going to be used by our customers, but in actuality, because we have the integrations with Google Analytics, we'll notice that Firefox is actually more predominant. So maybe without even realizing it, but now we know, we can make smarter business decisions to decide which environments we're going to focus our time and efforts on executing our test, because that's going to give us the biggest ROI as opposed to ones that are being used the least. Then also, number 3 is going to be to keep my investments. Micro Focus is not about a rip and replace solution. It's about how do we integrate with your existing environment. So going back to those, multiple environments, tool sets, complexities that we have to deal with the challenges that we have today. How can we fit into your existing environment and support those integrations? So we'll see that by, whether it's got Micro Focus, you have those Micro Focus tools or solutions already, such as UFT and LeanFT, or integrating outside of functional testing for lifecycle management, like with ALM Octane. And then also for open source, if you've got Selenium scripts already, we can use those. If you've got Appium scripts, we can use those. And there'll be more technologies that we'll be wanting to integrate with to leverage the existing assets that you have as a company, so that we're not ripping and replacing, and we can utilize the time that's already been invested on those assets. So those are really the, if nothing else, the 3 things that we want you to be able to walk away with in understanding exactly what StormRunner Functional does. Being able to maintain that digital lab for you so you don't have to worry about it, maintaining an on-prem lab to execute your tests against, right-sizing those tests to help you prioritize which test you need to execute against, and even for pre-production, maybe the current status of environments that have been ran across, and then leveraging your existing investments, your tool sets, and your time spent on those assets. The StormRunner Functional wants to be able to make sure that we're able to integrate with those the best that we can. So the benefits that you'll get out of it, just encapsulating those 3 things to remember, is that being a cloud solution, it's as a service offering, there's nothing to install. So that's going to be very convenient for you that you don't have to worry about. And then it's going to be a one-stop shop for all your testing activities. Again, we focused on the value is really going to be from the execution side of the house, but we also do have the ability to create scripts natively from the cloud, run exploratory tests, start creating automation assets. We'll see those in the demos as well, but that is why it can also be a one-stop shop for you, especially for those of you who have the JavaScript developers. We can create those JavaScripts online. They can be enhanced by the automation engineers. And then we can have the hassle-free testing lab. This goes back to that number 1 with the digital lab. Don't worry about an on-prem test lab anymore that you have to worry about maintaining. Spend that time that you would have spent maintaining, spend that money that you would have spent on the hardware and infrastructure on a cloud solution so that you can focus your time on creating those tests and executing those tests and using your manual testers to their max extent, as well as your automation engineers, instead of having that time split between maintaining that environment that you have to run all your tests against. And then going back to number 3, leverage those existing test assets that we just covered. We'll also see in the demo the advanced root cause analysis capabilities and cross-browser reporting that we'll be able to get from this. So this is going to be really great that we're going to be able to have really easy to read reporting from just a flow of steps that occur within the test, comparing tests against each other from a step basis, from a response time basis, as well as an image basis, and especially for those Selenium testers who, you have to code all this out to have these kind of capabilities. You take that Selenium script and upload it into StormRunner Functional, you're going to have all those reporting features readily available for you, those images, those steps, those graphs, readily available for you inside of StormRunner Functional, so you don't have to worry about not even adding that code, but maintaining that code and getting those reports that you want to be able to have. You basically upload that script and you can get it out of the box. Same thing goes for the LeanFT scripts. So make use of that. We're going to be able to help cut down that root cause analysis time so that you can fix those problems and get those tests back in the green. So just digging a little bit deeper, we kind of understand, or we should definitely understand now, the 1, 2, and 3 of exactly what StormRunner Functional is at a high level, what it can do for you, those benefits. So let's break it down a little bit more into the features capabilities. So for the web and mobile lab that StormRunner Functional is offering you, know that it supports web and mobile as well as SAP applications. So being able to provide these environments for you, so you don't have to maintain them, the operating system, the browser version, resolution types, mobile device types, to include Mac and Linux operating systems. And then the things is got an asterisk there. To date, StormRunner Functional doesn't have support for the IoT, but it is in the roadmap for being able to support those because we are forward thinking and being able to support those technologies as the market demand increases for those. It's going to be ready for it. And being able to leverage the cloud environment for the execution as well as on-prem. So for instance, if you've got mobile devices in hand that you want to leverage with StormRunner Functional, you can do that. Or you can have those mobile devices hosted, mix and match, and have the flexibility that you need. Then for execution, we can do remote execution, which, there's other people out there that can do it. But what's unique about StormRunner Functional is that we can also do cloud execution. So that's where we go back to taking those scripts and uploading those into StormRunner Functional. A big benefit of that will be explained in the demo as well, is that with that we can scale our runtime engines now, and we can run tests in parallel inside of StormRunner Functional as opposed to iterations or having to set up a robust test lab to try to run those tests in parallel. Just take the script and then upload it and you're good to go. You've got all the environments, the dynamic and most popular, most recent environments available for you. and then again being able to natively record scripts in the cloud as well within StormRunner Functional. Then for reporting, we have of course, the ability to see the status of it. Is it in the green? Is it in the red? Pass, fail. We can also submit defects with these reports, and we can submit those directly into ALM Octane, as well as integrations with Jira. And then we can see the trends of these, so not having isolated reports within our test lab, but we can get an aggregate view of all the test runs and see the trends, and that'll help us to figure out where we need to focus our attention so that we can meet the needs of the test cycle, the next sprint that's coming up. And then lastly, analytics and predictive. We can see the analysis, and that analysis will help us to predict the outcome of what's going on in our internal applications or pre-production. It can also help us, going back to the integrations with Google Analytics, see what's going on in the production environment to get a better understanding of what environments are most popular out there to help us prioritize. And then in the future, we'll also be able to import profiles from different industries. So if you're a company out there that is just getting started and you're not 100% sure what are the most common environments for that industry, we can leverage the industry profiles so that you know exactly where to get started on the right foot. Some of the external integrations that are included with StormRunner Functional, the ones in gray are the ones that are to date, and the ones in yellow are showing this is where we're headed in the future. So we've got integrations with Applitools. If you're not familiar with them, definitely go check them out. They've got automated visual testing, which is going to change your entire game for how you're doing manual testing and verifying the visual relationship or the visual verification of your application, as opposed to just making sure that those work. Integrations with Jira as well, and Jenkins, so that we can kick off these tests within Jenkins. And then we've already talked about the Google Analytics portion. For internal integrations, of course, we do have the ability to integrate StormRunner Functional with ALM Octane for lifecycle management. If you haven't heard of ALM Octane, definitely go check that out. Those of you who are familiar with ALM Quality Center, imagine all the capabilities that you've gotten there with a lot more. And then we've got that Octane is specifically designed to support more agile and DevOps methodologies and simplifying the architecture with that. So definitely go check that out. But StormRunner Functional can be used to kick off test. Within Octane, we can kick off our StormRunner Functional test, as well as integrating those with the pipeline, the builds that we have. And then integrations with LeanFT as well. I'll have a demo out later on to be able to show that support. But within the developer's IDE, it's important to be able to utilize these same features that we have that we've seen with UFT. But basically, we'll have access to the lab, the environment that we want to execute our test against from within the developer's IDE, such as IntelliJ, Visual Studio, and Eclipse. And then integrations with the UFT. So we can use these, both of these, LeanFT and UFT, to do our remote execution. But more importantly, what we're really getting is the access to that digital lab, the environments that we don't have, or maybe that we have limited access to. And then in the ones in the yellow, SRL, StormRunner Load for performance testing, NVs, network virtualization, to apply those network conditions for your testing, and then APM, application performance monitoring, so that we can get those server-side metrics and additional metrics that will help us to understand the true results of the performance of our test and leverage those so that we can have more data to make decisions on how we can best optimize our application. So with that, hop into the demo videos that I've got currently, and hopefully by the time you're seeing this that I've already got readily available. Check those out, and then really all that's left is just a few other items just to let you know, a little insider, what the demo agenda is going to be covering that you'll see in some of the videos, as well as not just to this, but definitely hitting these topics, is being able to show how we can leverage StormRunner Functional for remote execution, uploading those scripts into cloud execution, and then the analysis that we'll see. So to wrap it up, the value of StormRunner Functional is, it's an on-demand solution that will allow engineers to test their web and mobile applications intelligently and continuously with an optimized ROI. And we do that by being able to make it easy for you to access, especially if your teams are spread out, nothing to install, It's designed for multiple personas, technical and non-technical alike, and then it's designed to take the challenges that come with maintaining an on-prem lab and being able to pass that off to somebody else to have readily available for you to use, but now you don't have to worry about it anymore. You can leverage that existing budget that you used to use for on-prem lab for a cloud solution, so you can spend more time focusing your resources on test execution, test script creation, and building those out as opposed to maintaining your lab. Check out all the data that we have out there. We've certainly got communities out there, we've got a wide adoption, and then check us out in the rankings as well. And then for customer reference, I'll also have in the link below. Definitely check these out so that you can see how our customers are benefiting from adopting StormRunner Functional. So with that, I have the link below to be able to start your trial with StormRunner Functional today. So go check it out. Ping us for questions that you have, and feel free to comment below. And until then, from me and Mars, thank you, and we hope to hear from you.